All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Daily December to the 2022. This is day 9. So, I want to talk about getting out of your own way. If anybody watched yesterday's video, I uploaded my cover of Hey There, Delilah. And I was so much happier with that cover than any of the other two covers that I've done this month, and any of the singing I've done in a while. And it was really amazing to me specifically because I have done very, very limited vocal coaching. In fact, I have done one session of a vocal coaching. But I fairly regularly, at least in my own head, will critique other singers when I see them, specifically more amateur ones. It's not like I'm watching the Beach Boys and going, well, that person is definitely not supporting their voice the right way. No, that's very bad. No, nothing like that. But I watch a lot of music YouTube and a lot of smaller YouTube channels that have singing on them. And because of my particular training myself, I mean, I worked with brilliant, incredibly skilled vocalists that taught me so much. And then when that combined with all of the work I have done learning and developing training methods and things like that, it always seems to coincide with me. And when I see people doing things that I'm relatively knowledgeable on, I will automatically start critiquing it in my head and go, well, if I was working with this person, what tips would I give them? What suggestions would I give them to make their performance better? So, the most important advice I will give anyone that asks me about how to sing better is your body is designed to make music. As weird as that sounds, it is. Like, your body is set up to let you produce very, very aesthetically pleasing sounds. Everything about how your vocal cords are built, about all the different echoing chambers in your chest, about how your sinuses interact with all of that. You are designed, whether by chance or by someone being a designer, depending on your personal belief system structure, you are designed to make pleasing sounds. The biggest problem most vocalists have when they're starting out is they try too hard. They will sit there and they will tense their faces and they will tense their necks and they'll tense all these muscles and try to force the sound out. To make it sound a certain way. And we're actually seeing, not a ton, but we have seen quite a few different professional vocalists that have actually struggled with this. And the reason I know that they've struggled with it is because they're canceling shows due to damaging their vocal cords. In general, the damage that, like Adele had to get nodules removed from her vocal cords. That was because she was pushing her voice too hard. And I think Adele has a wonderful singing voice. But when you start straining to hit notes that you can't at that particular time, or to sing louder, or to what's significantly more common, especially with amateur singers, is to change the tone or the timbre of your voice, kind of the color of your voice, to match a certain style. That's when you start doing real damage. However, if you look at someone like Dolly Parton, is like one of my absolute favorite examples of an absolutely masterful vocalist. if you watch Dolly Parton sing, and any point in her career, you don't see her going, and you don't see any of that stuff. A lot of people don't realize "I Will Always Love You," the song that I think is Mariah Carey, I want to say, is real famous for, from The Bodyguard. That was a cover. Dolly Parton originally sang it way back in like the 60s or something like that. Watch her sing that song. It is a beautiful, beautiful song. It's also a very vocally demanding song, but she's Dolly Parton. When she sings, she just opens her mouth and beautiful music flows out of it. That's proper singing technique. That was one of the first lessons I was taught when I started taking vocal lessons, because again, I was a low voice, and I wanted to be in musical theater, and I wanted to be the hero. I wanted to be the lead in the musicals. The leads are always tenors, and I was a bass. Like, I didn't even really get up into the baritone range at that point, because I developed my voice so little at that point that I just have a very natural low voice, and my voice dropped like a rock in like 8th grade. And so I was pushing myself so hard to sing really high, and I was hurting my voice, and I wasn't being able to and I was getting tired very, very quickly. And so that was the first advice I got, was you need to stop forcing it. Let the sound come out of you. Every muscle you tense cuts off a source of resonance, and that's what makes our voices sound so beautiful, is natural resonance. The more you tense, the less things can vibrate, and sound is vibration. So the more things you tense, the less things can vibrate, the less places the air can go to resonate, and the worse you're going to sound. So when you look at someone like Dolly Parton, she just lets it out, and it comes out, and it sounds beautiful. You look at a lot of singers on YouTube, early singers. There's tons of singers on YouTube that have absolutely perfect vocal technique. I'm not saying everybody on YouTube is bad, but I'm saying that I see it a lot with early singers, which is extremely common for anyone that works in vocal training or anything like that. Is a really common problem for early singers, is they will try to force their voice to sound a certain way instead of just letting their voice be their voice. I see it a lot more often with female artists than I do with male artists, just because there are certain sounds that female artists are just kind of pushed into. A really good example is Britney Spears. Britney Spears has this weird kind of semi-vocal fry that on her early music was just everywhere. And literally every single kind of pop princess style singer, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, every female singer of that generation all had this, and they had this kind of almost sexy grunt kind of thing going on. And that became kind of the standard for what female pop vocals are supposed to sound like. And so anyone that was trying to sing songs like that would modify their voice. Well, if you've heard Christina Aguilera or Britney Spears speak, their voices aren't that far off from that sound naturally. Christina Aguilera is significantly more natural singer than Britney Spears in her early years. Britney Spears was putting that on purpose. Now she's kind of changed and she's much more natural, which is why she's still singing now 30 years later. You can't do that for 30 years. So anyway, the reason I'm talking about all this like tensing and stuff, if you watch my first 2 covers, you can see it in my face. I'm straining to hit the notes. I am working really, really hard to get the pitches right. I'm working really, really hard to get the volume correct. I spent days messing with every single setting on my computer that controlled volume and sound. Just anything I could. I messed with the gain on my mic itself. I messed with the gain in the computer. I messed with the gain in OBS. I messed with the gain in Audacity. I added artificial reverb, and I mean, I did absolutely everything I could to try and make this sound good, and it just didn't. And when I sang Hey There Delilah yesterday, none of that mattered. I had my very simple setup. It's the same setup that I run my D&D games on. Just this, I have my mic here. You guys can't see it. I can move it down a little bit. I have my mic right there. I like to keep it off camera because for me personally, I don't like having a mic on camera. It always cuts off it'll cut off the background or cut off part of your face. It just feels really, really weird to me. And so I've never enjoyed having a mic on camera. So I've got my mic there. I'm just recording directly in OBS, and when I do the covers, I have my headset. I have a new headset now that's wireless because it's so much easier to deal with. I have my headset on. I have the music pumping through my headset. I adjust the right ear so it's not a complete seal, so I can hear my own voice, and that's all I do. It's a really, really simple setup, and I didn't spend all day preparing to sing this song. The other songs, like when I woke up in the morning, I would do lip trills. Lip trills are phenomenal warm-up. If you don't have like a piano to warm up at, or someone to guide you through warm-ups, lip trills are great. If you have no idea what a lip trill is, I will demonstrate. This is a lip trill. That's a lip trill. The reason why it's such a great warm-up is two things. One, your lips will not buzz if you do not have good breath support. So it forces you to support your breath well. And second, it can go through your entire range, and it's generally not really hard to do on your voice. It's remarkably difficult to strain your voice doing lip trills. So lip trills are absolutely one of the best warm-ups you can do if you don't have other warm-ups to do. So after I do my lip trills, I would start doing warm-ups that I used to do in high school. Things like, many mumbling mice are making merry music in the moonlight, mighty nice. Many mumbling mice are making merry music in the moonlight, mighty nice. And then do that for my entire upper range. And then another, this is actually an opera warm-up that I learned. And this one actually teaches you head resonance. But the warm-up is Hinga. And the important part of it is you have to do this hing, and it should resonate all the way through the front of your nose and all the way through the top of your forehead. So it's Hinga. And it pushes the tone very forward. So I did that over and over. I touched my glasses and I have a smudge in them, and I don't want to try and fix them because cleaning my glasses is a nightmare. Doesn't matter what I have, I will end up with more smudges on my glasses after I clean them than before. So anyway, I would do that any morning that I was going to wake up and try recording. And I was freaking out about it. And every single time I record, I would do 4, 5, 6 takes. Half of which I wouldn't even record. I would just play the song and then I would sing through it just to kind of warm up again. And I was putting all this effort, I was worrying about it, and I was freaking out. And if you watch those videos, I am so incredibly tense. My tone is really, really bad. Everything about the singing is bad from a fundamental standpoint. I hit most of the notes fine. And if you were comparing me again with probably half of the amateur artists on YouTube, I probably wasn't horrible. I've heard a lot worse. I've heard a ton better. But that's the nice thing about YouTube, is there really is a very, very low barrier to entry. But it's not me. Like, again, I'm a classically trained vocalist. I've spent, 2 decades learning this stuff. And it just frustrated me over and over and over again when I finally kind of gave up that, okay, well, maybe I don't have to do one of these every single day. Maybe that was a little bit too much for me to do right now. Once I got to relax and treat Daily December the way I always like to treat it, which is trying new things, being experimental, failing, started feeling a lot better. In my mind, excuse me. In my mind, I had gotten into this mindset of I started watching these things like Vocal Coach reacts to Home Free, or Vocal Coach reacts to Voice Play, or there, I think it's on Variety or something. There's a YouTube channel that's run by an actual real corporation that brings in, like, you know, Billie Eilish reacts to fans covering her songs and stuff like that. So I got into my mind that by doing these covers, somehow I was going to show up on one of these things, and someone that actually knew what they were doing was going to be able to listen to what I was doing and just rip me to shreds. And so it created this immense amount of anxiety, despite the fact that I love every single one of my subscribers, every one of my viewers. Please don't take this the wrong way. Nobody watches my shit. Like, I am a small YouTube channel, especially for a channel that has been uploading content for 10 years now. Again, this is my 10th time doing this. I'm a tiny YouTube channel. There is no chance in hell any of those people are ever going to watch those performances. There are so many better performances out there to have these professionals react to. Like, there's absolutely no reason they would ever want to review my singing. I am not at that kind of a level. But my anxiety brain had tricked me into going, no, you have to be perfect. You were a professional jazz singer at one point. You have an amazing voice. You better make sure that every one of these is absolutely perfect. And it got in my head, and I got in my own way. And that's why they did so poorly. And that's why I was so happy with Hey There Delilah. Hey There Delilah, I sang twice. Technically I sang it 1.5 times. Because what happens, I sat down at my computer, I brought up the accompaniment track. I hit play, I hit record, and I needed to get sound levels. So I just sang it. And while I was singing it, I wasn't focusing on anything. I was setting up literally everything else. So I was just kind of very casually singing and enjoying myself. Hey there, Delilah, what's it like in New York City? I'm 1,000 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so pretty, yes you do. Just kind of relaxing and doing it. And I go through the chorus. I do the first 2 verses, I guess it is, depending on how you want to divide them up. The first part, and then I do the chorus, and that's when I would stop, because the chorus is where I get louder. Oh, it's what you do to me. Well, that what? That's really loud. So I always want to get that there. And I still peaked on the recording. I was upset about that, but yeah, it happens. It was 1 note. So anyway, when I was done doing my sound test, I just kind of sat back and went, wow, that felt really good. And I, out loud, I don't have the recording anymore because I deleted it so I wouldn't upload the wrong thing. But on the recording, before I hit the stop record button, I went, wow, that felt really good. And I did not say that about any of the other recordings I've done this month. Those other recordings were, well, I don't have time to make another recording, so this will have to do. And it just, to me, was just the perfect encapsulation of the idea of you need to get out of your own way. And this isn't just a singing thing. There are so many situations in life where you are going to make things significantly more difficult than anything else. And I'm seeing this, I'm seeing this kind of repeated over and over again in kind of drama channels and things like that. Like, people, a lot of drama is people getting in their own way. You know, they're making these decisions that, well, I am this amazing person and therefore I have to act this way and I'm not allowed to apologize, or if I do, I have to say it a certain way. And they're just making their lives miserable by getting in their own way. And I used to see it in retail constantly, especially people that wanted promotions. Oh yes, I will work 16 hours straight because somebody, called off, and I'll take their shift, and oh yes, I will do the entire inventory myself, and I will count everything twice to ensure that it is done correctly. Well, no, actually, no one on the management staff does the entire inventory themselves. You want to know why we don't do the entire inventory ourselves? Because it's a massive waste of time. In counting things twice, an even massiver waste of time. We count, depending on what you're specifically talking about, everything in the store. At every store I've ever worked at, every single item in the entire store is counted at least once a year. More expensive items like computers, cell phones, if you sell them, those things are counted daily. Because of that, you don't need to count every single one of them, or the same person doesn't need to count every single thing in the store. Even when we did a full inventory every single year, nobody counted everything in the store. We hired a company to come out and count our shit for us. They didn't have one person count everything in the store. They had a dozen people come into most stores to count the entire store, and they generally could do it in a night because of that. And they were really, really used to doing that. Like, that's all they do is go around inventory stores. It's a boring job, but it's an essential one. So again, getting in your own way is incredibly common. And singing specifically is, in my opinion, probably the best concrete example you can give to anyone about how much getting in your own way hurts what you want. And this is a perfect example of that. Just show anybody either one of my first two covers and then show them Hey There Delilah. Was Hey There Delilah the most amazing, perfect cover of that song that's ever happened? Absolutely not. There are a lot of things I could have done to make it significantly better. The room that I record in is acoustically horrible. And if I was a good, proper streamer, I would start putting up acoustic panels and things like that to give it a little bit warmer tone. If I had recorded it in something like Audacity and done some modifications, which is extremely common, like everybody, everyone that records music on YouTube and like you see them singing, they're not actually singing when you in the video that you're seeing, where they might be, but the sound that you're hearing is a recording they did, generally not in front of the camera. Or if they did record it, the only thing that they kept was the audio portion of it. What you see them doing is they're singing back to the track that they already recorded. Industry secrets, that's how it works. And it's not cheating in any way, shape, or form. That is how music videos are made. If you've never seen a music video, the way that they do it is on set. They have the song blasting for most of them. They have the song blasting, and the artist is singing to a song that has already been recorded in significantly better conditions. Sitting in front of a computer is not a great place to get good quality recordings. I know this for a fact. Generally, you want to be standing. You want to have a very specific mic. If you have control over everything, you want to be in a sound booth or some kind of studio that is acoustically treated to get the right sound. And you want it mixed. You want to add a little bit of reverb because people expect that. It makes it sound better. It's not changing your voice or anything like that. You still have to hit the notes right. If you want to play with auto-tune, you can. I fervently believe most of the really, really good singers on YouTube do not use auto-tune at all unless it is for stylistic choice. I really don't think that they're fixing their pitches in it because it's a shit ton of work to do it. And it's significantly easier to just learn how to sing the right pitches than it is to try and auto-tune yourself and it not be massively obvious. So I'm not saying that, they're cheating or anything like that. They're giving you the best possible recording physically possible. And mine 100% was not that. Will never be that. I do not have the strength or the mental stamina to do that anymore. I'd love to. I just, again, has already shown my brain has a mind of its own, and it will punish me when things happen for no reason. So, yeah, I thought it was interesting that happened. And that I 100% ignored the most important advice I give to every singer I talk to is relax, take a deep breath, let the music just come out. Don't force it. Don't aim it. The more you try, the worse it is. Just let the music come out. That's all for me today. See you guys next time. All right. Bye-bye.